Ontario announced today that high-purity iron and aluminum will be added to its critical minerals list. The government says this new classification will boost projects tied to the metals. Let's go to Stefan Lecce. He's Ontario Minister of Energy and Mines and joins us now. Minister, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
So what does this designation do for the metals?
Well, fundamentally, it's a recognition that we're moving where the puck is going when it comes to the demand, the doubling of demand of both of aluminum and of high purity iron, particularly for defense applications and military applications. We recognize that the governments around the industrialized world and NATO will be more than increasing in funding and defense purposes to 5%. And so we want to make sure that we have all the minerals ready, fully funded, fully supported and permitted in order to enable more expansion, extraction, and yes, processing in the province of Ontario. So it's a signal that we want to give prioritization, be it for green steel production or, of course, for aluminum, which is so necessary for aerospace, automotive, and defense sectors as well.
So does it give government support in funds to producers of these metals?
It provides regulatory certainty. We're trying to create a permitting regime that gets to yes. We were the second slowest in the OECD. We've emerged through our permitting reforms, our one project, one process initiative, to one of the fastest in the G7. In fact, the Fraser Institute put a report out last week. Ontario was the 15th in the world for attracting mining investment. We're now number 2 in the world and number 1 in Canada. So our policy of reducing red tape, creating certainty for investors, building the enabling infrastructure, including, for example, like yesterday, the road to the Ring of Fire and the transmission corridor, is all building, I believe, confidence in creating this reliability narrative that is central for many companies or governments seeking their predictable place. And Ontario certainly meets that score as a friendly democratic nation that has all of the resources the world needs.
Minister, when was the last time that list was updated?
2022. And as you can appreciate, a lot has changed since the weekend. So I think it's fair to say that we need to be hawkish and rather on the offense when it comes to our commodity sector. Our premier in government has been quite relentless in championing a reform agenda that reduces permitting timelines and increases the certainty for investors. And that's why at PDAC this year, the largest ever, we are seeing a renewed sense of energy in this province, from nuclear power to our critical mineral play. They see this province as open for business, and that we will slash the red tape, cut through the noise, and build. And the fact that we're building the roads, the Ring of Fire, 5 years ahead of schedule should signal to you all, starting construction this spring, that we mean business.
Okay, let's talk about the auto sector for a moment, which has been battered by all the changes in tariff rules from the U.S. and has been struggling, as you know. How will something like this designation for aluminum, which gets used quite a bit in cars, help that sector?
Well, it ensures security of supply. I mean, for many of our industry partners, they are concerned because, as you know, much of the critical mineral or rare earths or certainly amongst precious metals, they're highly concentrated in China. And if we want to step up, improve how we access minerals and how we process minerals in this country, then we will give more prioritization to the critical minerals that are actually going to help us build our economy and our industrial base. And so our auto sector, which is very much under attack through these tariffs from President Trump, any support they can get, access to high quality minerals, access to localized product, reduces costs, increases competitive advantage. And for many of these businesses that have ESG standards, the fact that we are the gold standard, high environmental and labor and the rule of law, we fulfill all the criterion that I think a modern industrial base would want. So it's about signaling that we're ready to roll. We're ready to actually punch through, deliver impact, and get permits approved. It could be for the auto sector. It could be obviously for the mining sector or sort of proper. Whatever the application, everyone will benefit in Canada if we can unlock our economic potential by getting more resources to market and doing more processing at home.
Is there more stockpiling then of aluminum and the high purity iron because they're on that list?
That's not part of at least this iteration of the plan. The federal government has contemplated a G7 buyers club, stockpiling offtakes. These types of elements are being led through them. We're working very much with them. In fact, I just left a minister of Canada's ministers of energy and mines meeting with the federal minister. So we're having those discussions about how to bolster our supply chains. But for now, the principle is launch a updated, modernized critical mineral strategy that gets us to number one in the world when it comes to mining investment, both from attracting the capital, retaining the investment, and then scaling these businesses so that they can actually succeed and prosper in the province. And so far, our success story has been strong. We've seen large-scale investment in the province as of late. It's, I think, in part because of the permitting reduction, part because we're building the power sources, the transmission, the generation. We have a large nuclear and hydroelectric base, rather affordable power rates relative to those around us, and a very high-skilled workforce. So I think when you put that all together, the message is clear. Ontario is that reliable partner and is a safe, predictable jurisdiction to invest.
You mentioned the Ring of Fire and being ahead of schedule in building the road that goes there, which is not an easy task. We know that. But when do you think shovels will be in the ground in that project?
Yeah, so we're actually going to start construction this spring. I think many people, look, for my entire lifetime, we've been talking about the Ring of Fire as a concept. Our government has already authorized, I authorized the transmission line into Greenstone, into the gateway of the Ring of Fire last month. And this month we announced just yesterday with our premier a plan to accelerate the approvals and to get shovels in the ground commencing this spring. So you will start to see road construction take place ahead of schedule. These projects, the goal is to get them in place by 2030. And that's an unprecedented speed, given the fact that, yes, these are not easy terrains and topography to build in, but we've got the capacity and the know-how. We've got businesses already moving supply into the region, and we're preparing for what can be the unlocking of 70,000 jobs, $22 billion to the national GDP. Yep. Many of the large companies in the region, I think, will be prepared to get to advanced exploration because we've given them the certainty. We built the infrastructure, we've worked with First Nations, and most perhaps importantly, we've cut the permit timelines by half.
Okay. Stephen Lecce, sorry, I got to leave it there. Stephen Lecce is the Ontario Minister of Energy and Mines.